You say I make you nervous, a tragedy, I'm a beautiful...
BTS News Today.it was already late at night in Seoul when suddenly, a notification pinged on millions of phones around the world. Not from the news, not from the agency, but from Jungkook himself, an idol who has long lived in the hearts of armies. No promotions, no announcements, just a sudden live broadcast that appeared in the middle of the night, with a dark screen and the faint sound of a ticking clock. Jungkook is live. In an instant, the world stopped. Jungkook sat alone in his dimly lit room, his hair slightly messy, wearing a black hoodie, and his breathing sounded heavy. There was no music, no effects, just him and the camera, and silence. But that silence was deafening, because for the fans who have followed him for years, they knew something was different tonight. It's been a while, huh? That first sentence came out softly, almost like a whisper, but it hit like a punch. As if he was greeting someone he's longed for over years, not just weeks or months. He stared at the camera for quite a while, as if speaking to just one person. But everyone watching knew it was for them, for ARMY, for BTS, for himself, who had been holding back for so long. I don't know where to begin, he continued as he wiped his face. But tonight, I just want to be honest. Truly honest. His voice trembled slightly, and while he paused, the comment section kept flowing, filled with support, worry, and love. But he didn't read them that night, because this wasn't about interaction. It was about confession. I've always been the strong one, the one people said was the freest, the most cheerful, but that's only a part of me, he said, turning his face away. Lately I've been feeling like I've lost direction. He didn't mention any names, didn't talk about schedules, but when he looked back at the camera, his eyes were slightly glassy. BTS, they've always been home. But sometimes, even home can feel far away when you don't know who you are anymore. The words hung there, long and heavy, like a message that had been trapped for years. Was this about the hiatus? About pressure? About deep longing? ARMY, I know you see me smiling, dancing, singing, but sometimes I wonder if you really know what's truly in my heart. His voice grew softer, but somehow even more honest. I'm tired, but not tired from working. I'm tired of pretending that I'm okay. The comments flooded even faster. Many saying, we love you, you're not alone, and Jungkook, please rest. But then he smiled. Not his usual bright smile, but a smile full of burden and maybe relief. Back then, when we first debuted, I always thought, I wanted to make my Hyungs proud. RM Hyung, Suga Hyung, Jimin Hyung, all of them. And you know, I once said that Jimin Hyung was my savior. As soon as that name was spoken, many went silent. Jimin, they hadn't been seen together in a while. But now, Jungkook mentioned him with such sincerity, as if holding something deep behind it. Hyung, if you're watching this, I hope you know. I miss you. More than words can say. That very second, the once quiet live turned into a storm of emotion. ARMY knew there was something unsaid between them. And that night, Jungkook didn't hide it. I want to sing a song we never released. The one we wrote together, back when it rained in Los Angeles. He played a recording from his phone, the soft strum of a guitar. Then Jungkook and Jimin's voices, in a harmony never before heard by the public. The lyrics were full of hurt and hope. Even if the rain falls forever, I'll stay with you. Don't let go because in silence, I still hear you. Jungkook's eyes welled up. But he didn't cry. He just sat still, letting the song play. This song was never finished, he said softly. Because at that time, we weren't finished either. That sentence was heavy with meaning. Was it about the song? Their bond? Their journey? One thing was certain. ARMY could feel it. Jungkook looked into the camera with deep intent. I don't know if I'll always be able to speak like this. But tonight, I just want you to know, I'm still here. Maybe not as the idol you've always known, but as a person, as John Jungkook. The lights in his room gradually dimmed. But before the live ended, he said one final thing that kept millions awake that night. And to someone, you know who you are. If you still have that key, you know where to return. The live broadcast ended, but its impact? It didn't. ARMY across the world erupted. The hashtags #JungkookLive, #message to BTS, and even #Where is Jimin quickly became the #1 trends in various countries. Clips from the live were re-uploaded millions of times within minutes. But what shocked fans the most was the song he played. The The snippet of Jimin singing along sparked massive conversation. A song no one had ever heard. A song full of emotion. A song that felt like an apology or maybe a new hope. Fans began speculating. Was Jungkook sending a message to BTS? Or to Jimin specifically? Was this the beginning of something new? Or just an outpouring of emotions held back for too long? The next day, there was no official statement from Big Hit. No clarification. Even Jimin didn't appear on social media. But one small thing happened at Jimin's Weverse profile picture changed to a photo of a small key. The same key Jungkook had given him during a live stream years ago. No caption, no explanation, just the image. Army wept. They knew. This might not just be a message, but a beginning. Maybe that night wasn't the end of silence, but the start of the courage to speak honestly. And maybe, in the darkness of night, Jungkook finally said, "I want to be heard as myself." And for a world that always saw him as a star, that night, they finally saw Jungkook as a human. 3 hours after the live ended, the Seoul sky was still wrapped in early morning silence. But online, it was louder than a stadium concert. Armies from all over the world stayed up, replaying every word Jungkook said. There was no background music, no stage, but to them, it was the most raw, moving performance since the day he first said, "Annyeonghaseyo, John Jungkook imnida," on debut. In Los Angeles. Just as the sun began to rise, someone quietly opened a studio door. Jimin that he didn't say a word, but a nearby security camera caught the rare moment. He was wearing a long-sleeved black shirt and gray sweatpants, with a cap hiding most of his face. But his steps were quick, decisive, like someone who had waited long enough for a sign. Some armies in LA who recognized the studio Jimin often recorded in began to gather from a distance. But no one approached. They just stood, watching the small window of the studio, hoping last night wasn't just one-sided. And they were right, because not long after Jimin entered, the door locked from the inside. And soon after, a new audio recording began circulating online, not officially released, but seemingly leaked on purpose. It had no title, but the voices were clear, Jungkook and Jimin, singing the same song from the live, but this time with completed lyrics. "Even if the rain keeps falling, our voices won't drown through storms and silence. You're still the one I've found." And at the end of that song, there was a held breath and a small laugh. Jimin's voice. "I heard you, Kook, and I understand." That line lasted under 3 seconds, but it was enough to make armies around the world explode with emotion. What truly happened behind the scenes of BTS? The next day, BTS's official Weverse page posted a single image, a digital painting of 2 male silhouettes sitting by a window, staring out at the rain. No names, no description, but ARMY knew. It was them. And for the first time in weeks, Jungkook's account reposted something. A tiny key image that Jimin had previously shared. They didn't mention each other, didn't speak directly. But as always, Jungkook had their own way of communicating. Wordless, yet undeniable. Meanwhile, the other BTS members remained silent. RM had posted a snippet of an English poem hinting at a search for meaning. Suga simply shared a blank image with an ellipsis emoji. Jin, still serving in the military, gave no response, but the names Jungkook and Jimin were reportedly trending even among fellow soldiers.
Only fools tread where the angels fear to go, but you keep trying to get too close. Save myself by turning into stone. So save your judgment, 'cause you